to coach the emotion side of things.
There you go. Sheikah is still going to be picked up here for Tempest. So they've got their comfort for Tempest. And like you said, Secret, they've got their comfort as well. So both sides pretty happy with how the first phase is shaping up. I do want to go back to the Razor pick, though. What are your thoughts overall about the hero after the patch? Because this hero has been changed pretty heavily. I mean, the BKB refresher change is a big nerf to him overall. I think he got some changes to the static link as well, which pretty much halved how long you're able to steal the damage. I really was not seeing a whole lot of Razor. I know it's comfort for Chrysalis, and they have the capability to flex it and give it to Resolution if they want to, but just...
Even
besides
Nisha,
the player,
to be honest, as well.
That's a very good point. Even Nisha. Besides, like, kind of the players, though, what are your thoughts on the hero? Do you think it is still strong after the changes?
I think it's still strong as long as you play around, like, a 35 or so minute timing for the rest of your team. Because the biggest change with Razor, yeah, the laning stage is a lot worse with what you mentioned before with the static link not lasting anywhere near as long in the early levels. But the big thing for mine is the refresher change. You know, you just want to be able to pop refresher for that second use of the ultimate, the static link, and the BKB. But the big thing is, refresher is like the worst gold per stat item that there is in the game.
Interesting.
So you don't want to be holding on to it. You know, you want it in your backpack. And now you have to hold on to it because the timer doesn't tick down anymore unless it's in your active inventory. So it's one of these items that you want to get for what it does, but you don't want to be holding on for it onto it for the stats. So I feel like if you go any later than 35, 40 minutes and you're getting into that actual item after that, then suddenly the enemy team is going to overtake you a little bit because they get an item that's actually useful at all stages of the game.
I do like what Secret are doing to protect the Razor at the moment. They've gotten rid of the Faceless Void and the Morphling, some of the best heroes to be able to deal with the Razor. I think in particular the Faceless Void was something we saw China really showcase with how strong this hero is. And just on the Faceless Void point real quick, I'm intrigued to see if this hero is going to have as much popularity as what we saw through the...
Yes,
okay,
it will.
you reckon it will?
It did not get nerfed enough at all. I was stunned with how little it was nerfed. I mean, you're not a hero that wants to buy a refresher most of the time. You know, by the time that you're refreshing chronoing, it's because you've picked up a refresher shard from the Roche pit, right? Not a refresher orb. You just are way too strong with all of the damage that you're able to output with an actual item. And slightly less damage on a time dilation, that's not enough to be able to bring it back to the rest of the pack. So I honestly, if you're still doing predictions out there for group stage chat, I would put this up there as either one of the most picked, but more likely one of the most banned heroes for the entire tournament.
Yeah, I kind of, in my notes, I did like a top 10 heroes, and I still, after the changes, put Faceless Void in there. And in the regional qualifiers, he was the 8th most picked hero, 55 games, and had a really crazy win rate. No surprise, 67%. And that's a very high win rate in competitive Dota. So yeah, I still think this hero is very strong, but kind of one thing we've been mentioning a lot, I know the panel mentioned it a lot at the start, just that we're going to soak up as much knowledge as we can because we have not seen these teams play, and the meta is going to change, especially with this patch. So I'm just intrigued to see on kind of where he does fit in the rankings, but I would agree with you. I think he's still going to be very strong.
What's going on with this Brewmaster ban? Not really something that Secret are totally renowned for. I mean, I know I mentioned before prior to game one that, you know, it's one of Puppy's crazy style of pos 5s, but I mean, unless they're looking to pick up something like an Omni Knight, nothing immediately jumps out at me as something that's going to benefit. I guess more teamfight disruption's always good when you've just got a Razor, but I mean, Enchantress, Puppy Enchantress, that's damn strong too, especially against someone like an Earthshaker in the laning stage where you're able to completely bully him out.
I don't know if this was like a direct reason why, but the brew to protect the Terrorblade, which just got banned out from Secret, like maybe that was kind of a signal that that could be a really good hero. I mean, it's a bit tough to call in the second phase, but I do still like the read from Secret, again, continuing to protect the Razor.
Yeah, it's a possibility for sure. I feel like you can go, again, Secret can look to greed up a little bit. Earthshaker isn't someone that does anything super early on. Yeah, you could do a lot of stuff if you're able to get into, you know, a lot of this early farm, but you've got an Enchantress and you've got an Nyx Assassin. These are two heroes that pretty solid for the laning stage. They're just going to throw it right back at them with a sniper. but they're also heroes that are great at just roaming around the map and getting a lot of that information. This is what I was talking about with the Tusk, with the Nyx, with the Enchantress. You know, the style of heroes that just allow you to have so much more information, and I feel like that's how Secret are going to look to beat Tempest. I'm stunned that Undying has lasted this late into the draft because it's still just a really solid pick.
And I think now it's very similar to what we saw in the draft from Secret, where they have the flexibility all the way to the end with the sniper potentially playing the safe lane because they've gone for such a strong laning support in the Undying who's able to protect it, but you can't even put the sniper mid like we saw last game with Nisha playing it. So kind of very similar to what we saw with the sniper Chen in the second phase from Secret in game 1.
The thing is, though, Secret get to choose what lane this Razor gets to go into, right? They've got the last pick of this phase. They've got the last pick of the overall draft. So they could just give this Razor the easiest game imaginable. Obviously, now you've got the information that you don't really want to be playing the any kind of strength heroes into the off lane. They're just going to go something like the Lycan. I don't hate this. You know, you're able to swarm over the Earthshaker and the Undying super early on. Yeah, it's still a strength hero, but it's something that they don't really deal super well with until you're able to get into something like the Gleipnir. I think Gleipnir is actually such an important item for the Weaver this game. You can't afford to just go full on damage.
Yeah, do you feel like Tempest have some big issues right now with dealing the push on Secret? Because you've got the summons from the Enchantress and the Lycan now. Is this 23rd pick something that needs to cover that issue?
It does, but they also need just damage components, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to go ahead and ban out the Bloodseeker on Secret because Razor, Lycan, both horrible into the Bloodseeker. But if you're able to just stop one of them from running at you, enable the sniper to just stand there and right-click, I think you're in a much better spot. So it might be that sort of situation where Kataro, he's able horrible into the Bloodseeker, but if you're able to just stop one of them from running at you, enable the sniper to just stand there and right-click, I think you're in a much better spot. So it might be that sort of situation where Kataro, he's able to play his favorite hero, and it's still really good for the game. We saw he was 8-2, I think, in game number 1, so he didn't have a bad game by any means.
No, he did not at all. I think for Secret, though, it's going to be really nice for them to have this ultra last pick, and they're only going to one hero with a stun. So Nisha, I think, has a lot of heroes that are a potential for him to be picked up because they do need that instant gap close on the sniper.
Plenty of spirits left, all of them, in fact. So
and they all look good.
And the puck.
5 seconds remaining.
Yep, all pretty solid. I would probably be leaning more towards puck just because it'll probably synergize a lot better with the Razor and the Lycan in that you could keep waves shoved out. They don't have great ways to push waves in themselves. The supports are absolute rubbish at it, and you can't just be throwing out shrapnels willy-nilly because you're going to have the Nyx Assassin there to be able to just pop the Carapace, get the stun, get the conversion.
Argaban. Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting.
I mean, I think that's playing around the either Song just to retreat and, again, play around the later stages of this game. Earthshaker wants a few more items. Weaver needs the Gleipnir, like I was saying. Sniper, you're capable of defending the high ground, so you can wait things out a little bit. But the bigger thing for mine would be the Aghanim Scepter, just being able to use the net onto a BKB target, something that Razor picks up pretty damn early.
Void Incarnate.
Right. Tempest's going to go down the Void Spirit route. They confirm that the sniper is going to be played in the safe lane. And Sabas is going to pick up another Spirit that is incredibly comfortable on. It is into the Nyx Assassin, and you don't even see your mid counter as well. So Nisha's going to have a pretty good time in this matchup and in this game.
5 seconds remaining.
Still an Invoker believer. Could they... Oh, they could even snap fire mid here. It wouldn't be that bad. You get a lot of... The matchup's pretty good. You're able to... They don't have anyone that really loves going in on your backlines, provided that you deal with the Void Spirit super early on. Puck still is pretty decent, though, right? It means the Void Spirit needs to go into a Yule Scepter just to survive a little bit longer, and then it means that the Razor and the Lycan are just able to wreak havoc. Those are the two I'd be looking at. Maybe Invoker, or Snap, or Puck are the three that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can think of, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the list that you mentioned.
I'm also just thinking, can they look to go someone else and just put the Razor mid into the Void Spirit? It's not that bad. Obviously, you don't make as big use out of the static link, but you just level up the plasma field, keep the lane shoved in, means that the Void Spirit isn't as easily able to control the runes as well. And, you know, if you're having to farm underneath your tower, then things become a lot more difficult.
I guess we should maybe mention, like, what do we feel like the flaws are currently with Secret's lineup? Like, whatever role they pick, what do they need to cover?
Stuns, control.
Yep.
You need something that's able to get in on top of the Weaver, Void Spirit, Sniper, and just deal with them.
Yep. Let's see what the call is going to be. All right, Storm Spirit picked up.
That was
here.
the fourth hero.
Finisher.
It
was there.
It was there. It was the only other Spirited gap closey style. And, well, clearly they feel like that's going to be more suitable for their draft. I'm just thinking here, like, I guess like I was mentioning before, they've got the supports that are both able to rotate, and out of all of those heroes that I mentioned outside of maybe the Puck, Storm is by far the best one at being able to use the power runes to full effectiveness. But,
yeah,
I mean, Undying wants to stay in the lane. Shaker can rotate, especially with a Weaver lane, but Nyx, Enchantress, they absolutely want to be rotating and securing that rune. So, weight of numbers, 2 supports that can move to secure it against the 1. I would be favoring the 2 for that one.
Yeah, and that's really what the early game is going to come down to. If Nisha can get the power rune, if Sabas can get the power rune, because both being on a Spirit hero, they need to be making the plays in the early game. The Raze is going to be looking to try and find that BKB, and for the Sniper, you're looking to try and find your early game farm. So this comes down to the mid laners. And often what we see at the moment, and kind of what we were seeing even before this series, Sabas was a big reason of why Tempest are in the last chance qualifiers, and for Secret, Nisha has been playing at such an incredible level, and it's looking like a pretty good Storm Spirit game as well. There's not a whole lot you have to be concerned about. Earthshaker is definitely a big issue. The Void Spirit as well can offer a lot of control as well. So they have some ways to kill the Storm Spirit, but it's not like it's the worst game. Nisha, I've seen him play Puck into like 5 counters, and this guy can do some incredible things, and I think this will be no different on the Storm.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also not the biggest fan of these, you know, Spirit heroes or people like the Puck even, from going into early Orchid, but I feel like if there was a game for it, this is the one. You know, you just need, obviously, a little bit more of that mana pool that's going to come from Micaiah. He might even go into the Bloodstone just because Storm Bloodstone is really strong these days. You just, you know, zip in on top of everyone, pop the Bloodstone, and then suddenly you're back at full mana and able to zip again. And with the low-ish amount of lockdown that they've got on Tempest, it's going to be pretty solid, but I just feel like you're going to need a little bit more of that lockdown yourselves.
I think another thing that you mentioned, hold that thought. No, we're going to be chilling. Tempest not looking to continue invading the jungle. We spoke about towards the end of game 1 how important the vision was, and Secret did a very good job to be able to make it difficult for Tempest. This is going to be another similar game. Like, look at Secret's heroes and how they can get the information. You got the Lycan Wolves, you got the Enchantress creeps, the Nyx Assassin shouting out with the Vendetta as well. So this is not going to be an easy game for Kataru to position, and we're already seeing Secret. They'll catch up to Slardon. Official buying some time. It even blocks off the Razor as well, so great placement out of the stun.
Even just then, like the Lycan Wolves, right? A lot of them might just get, a lot of teams might get baited into just saying, hey, we found the Shaker, let's look to hit him down with as many summons as possible. But he was like, you know what? I'm going to give him vision. I'm going to give information so that my team knows just how deep they can look to dive. And you're mentioning that vision game as well, right? With the Wolves, with the Enchantress creep, with the Nyx Assassin, it's going to enable the Storm quite heavily, but also it's going to mean that you've got plenty of heroes that are able to shove out lanes as well. And like I was saying before, Shaker really doesn't deal with that very well. Undying really doesn't deal with that very well. And the Sniper, if he looks to use the Shrapnel to be able to do it, you can get caught out with the Spike Carapace stun. So I feel like they're going to be heavily rallying around probably the Resolution lane, just because of how easy it's going to be to invade the back lines if you get that lane pushed out.
And man, I love how Secret have set up their lanes with Poppy going up top to play with Resolution against the Undying. You've got a ranged intelligence hero, so the Decay is going to do nothing, and Undying is very single target, is not going to be able to deal with any of the kind of Enchantress creeps well at all. And now you're able to pair the Razor with a melee hero that can have a stun, and importantly, it's a Nyx Assassin into the Weaver. So we see what this hero is able to do. I imagine Zayats is going to go for level 2 in the Spike Carapace, so I really like the lane setup at the moment from Secret.
Can I just say, praise Gaben for changing the Mind Stealer creep, because that was just way too much mana burn that you were able to get. 100 mana burn is reduced to like, what, 20 and change now, based on the amount of int they have or something?
If you got that creep, the lane was
Rezo
over pretty
top.
much. Yeah, Rezo's in trouble. Another round of the Shrapnel. They've still got one more available as well. They're going to turn to Puppey instead. The easy kill onto the Enchantress, or maybe not, but the Fairy Fire Puppey just slips towards the secret shop, and that was a lot invested out of Tempest. They've completely shoved the lane in now.
Yeah, completely shoved the lane in, and you used the Soul Rip and did basically 0 damage with it. So, you know, you might think that the Tombstone would have been a bit of a more useful tool, because, again, you know that Secret are going to go this style where they look to try and dive you. So if you could toss out a maxed out Tombstone, force the enemy team to go on that as opposed to any of your heroes, then you're in a really good spot. It kind of breaks their formation a little bit.
It's a minor thing, but it's nice that Slardom was able to kill off the Corey from Zayats. That was a sentry on the Corey, and this lane down bottom is really relying on who has the sentry control. The one to just help out with unblocking the small camp, and also just in the lane to make it more difficult for Draken to be able to play with the Sakuchi.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always great, especially in those early levels, to... Oh, getting a little bit harassed there in the lane. To keep the Weaver guessing, you know, not able to just freely use the Sakuchi while he's still got quite a long cooldown on it. How's our mid lane going as well? Nisha going up against Sabas. Looking pretty even so far. Just looking to trade. Again, it's all about playing around that 6-minute timing. If you could look to shove out the lanes, then you could look to rotate the supports through a lot easier. Maybe you even get a gank off, but well, it's really going to depend on Sabas, particularly avoiding getting denied too much, because that's going to prevent him from being able to get that escape out. Both teams a little bit lacking in the stun department, so these early levels on Nisha and Sabas very important. Bot side.
Oh, nice stun from Zayats through the tree line. We'll clip onto Slardon, and I had an incredible game 1, and it's going to continue that form into game 2 as Zayats finds first blood.
Low on the old regen though. Don't
Top
have
lane?
any coming up.
Uppy's getting chased. Katara's got another round of the Shrapnel. This time it's level 2. They'll need the decay for the extra damage, and that's enough to secure the kill. So Tempest, they'll hit back instantly.
It actually went the point in the Impetus, which I'm not sure if it's the greatest choice, right? Doesn't really do anything against the Tombstone. You know an Undying is going to be able to just heal up a lot of the harassment damage that you're able to do, so maybe the Nature's Attendants would have served him much better.
Bottom lane. Fisher on the wrong side. Draken, though, lost 50 damage, still looking to play aggressive on Slot, and they need to respect the damage stolen from Crystallis, as a stun still available from Zayats. Lands it onto Slardom, but he's able to juke into the tree line, so the Earthshaker will just get enough distance away. Zayats will not be able to catch up. He does have a Mango and the Impale available. Slardom wants to play. You got to be able to sidestep this. Zayats is ready for it. The stun. Fisher, oh, is too slow. Zayats finds his second kill, and importantly, he gets all the solo experience as well. So that's really, for him to be able to find an early level 6 timing is really important here from the Nyx Assassin.
Even allows him, with the wave pushing all the way back underneath the tower, to leave Crystallis down here on his lonesome for a little bit. I'm sure he'll drop those tangos in the base along with the boots, and then just get him ferried straight out to him by the Nyx. Actually, even looking to go, might look to go for a TP to the mid lane perhaps. Set up Nisha to be able to contest that rune coming up in about 45 seconds. He's almost level 6, so a free bottle refill would serve him really well.
Yeah, I think now we need to be kind of looking towards the equilibrium in the side lanes, because you mentioned throughout the draft that Secret have probably a slight advantage with being able to rotate with their supports, and you're only able to really do so if the creep wave is in a position where your cores can be left alone.
Speaking of cores being left alone, Draken was on the bottom side. He's going to push him away a little bit. Again, it's just important that Secret, kind of similar to last game, they don't need to win the lanes necessarily. Obviously, it's a bonus if they do, but it's just important to get that early farm, because you've got these times.
Dude, Puppey. I was watching the entire time. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to have enough damage. Hang on a second. Puppey's going to solo kill the Undying. What's going on? Oh my.
Just
I mean, it
Denchings.
does. Yeah, just Denchings. Mid lane. Nisha. The chain control needs to be perfect. Slardon's got another round of the stun, but a little bit late to step in. Nisha's falling low in the mana regard, but he's got plenty of one charges.
Didn't actually pop the DD for that kill attempt, which I was a little bit surprised about, considering how much time Slardon had spent camping around that mid lane. Maybe Nisha just with his mana pool a little bit low, they feel like they could look to make an attempt here, even TPing in Kachu to get the refill onto the bottle and potentially that little bit of extra damage, but Nisha, he did the right thing. He pushed the lane out, and now he's going to go back away from where any kind of kill can happen. He knows an Earthshaker is not capable of soloing him 100-0.
Do you feel like the action is going to be predominantly around this mid lane for the next couple of minutes, or are we going to maybe start to see some rotations? Because at the moment, like, Rezo is continuing to 1v1 versus the sniper, and bottom lane we see Draken left alone as well. Because often, like, an Enchantress likes to play mid, wrap around, and put some pressure onto the tower. Is this going to be the same thing this game?
No, I think Tempest are the actual ones that want to be playing around that area for now, just because they have that DD to play with. They've still got the siege creep, but I think Secret are just not going to let them. They're going to wait until their timings with the Helm of the Dominator. It's only 300 or so gold away, and probably going to come out at a similar sort of time as the Shapeshift, and then make a rotation up towards where Rezo's playing.
Bottom lane. Zayats is going to be able to find the Earthshaker in the tree line. Fissures a potential from Slardon, has to be cautious about the Spike Carapace, but Sabas has actually rotated down to bottom. So going to look to jump Crystallis, an easy kill for them to find, and they've still got some vision onto the Nyx Assassin. Thanks to the Swarm, able to scout him out, escaping to the eastern side. Sabas, another round of the ultimate if he wants to, but it looks like Draken will have the damage, and that gets him some more earn charges as well. A beautiful rotation coming out of the position 2 from Tempest.
Good play from both teams, but the big thing that was different for me this game versus the last one is just that vision that they've got set up around the mid lane for Tempest in particular. Kachu was in position, he realized that, look, me being at that bottom lane...
Oh no, the Remnant, it's just... No, he runs into the chat totem! Oh no! That was awkward from both sides. Savatas missed on the stun, but they just didn't zip away. And what a rotation, Dano. You get the 2 kills down bottom. It meant that you could instantly move mid by the power rune spawn. So now you get the regen to play with, and now they're going to go back down bottom.
He doesn't have a TP if they kill him.
Chrysalis, they're just going to dive him. He's going to die for the second time in a row. Assassinate from afar. Tempest with their early game movements are looking incredible.
Pinging out this Undying a little bit, but Kachu, he's just getting all of this solo experience mid. He's loving life. He's like, well, again, I don't contribute anything at this stage of the game. If it's the laning stage, obviously, I'm an Undying. I'm a beast. But in terms of these super early team fights, not so much unless it's a full 5-on-5.
Kayu, TPs are starting to come out. Can he get the Tombstone down before they secure the kill? He's going to be able to do so now with the rotations. They're going to be cautious on Secret how long they stick around, but look at the call from them. They want to turn to deal with the Tombstone. They'll finally bring it down, but it does come at a cost at Zayats' life.
I feel like pretty happy with that though on Tempest. Again, they know that they were going to have the outnumber. They know that there was no way that Crystallis was going to be able to rejoin because of his TP being on cooldown. And they've got a lot of experience just going completely wasted underneath the tier 1 tower at bottom. Able to farm pretty safely up top here too with Slardon.
Oh, you think it was... I thought it was really good for Secret. Like, you pulled them...
the response was good, but...
Mid lane, Sabas is... chilling for the moment with Kayu nearby. He's actually going to look to jump back in with the Spike Carapace on cooldown. Zayats, a lot of damage coming out from the Dissimulate being level 3 was enough to blow up the Nyx Assassin.
They want to go for a backstab, but they've got plenty of mana to play around, so I'm not sure if this is going to be the best play overall. Even popping that shapeshift there. Big fingers.
This reaction to Simulate. Sabas, he doesn't have any more ultimate charges though. They're going to go for Kayu. A Remnant's going to be off the mark. They're committing towards the Void Spirit, but he's got no one else, no extra reinforcements to keep alive the position 2, and a Resolution can crunch down the Undying's life as well. It's a great rotation. Rezo claims top. The first use of the shapeshift to mid lane he goes, and it's going to be a second tier 1 town. Rezo was struggling in the lane. Snipe had a very big advantage early on, but with his past couple of movements out of Resolution, he's well and truly in this game.
Yeah, this is just one of those instances where they just can't push out the lane super effectively on Tempest. And this is the result, right? You just get swarmed over. It was a ballsy move, and it was really quick fingers as well on Sabas to be able to maybe get away from that, but just the super heavy commitment coming through from Team Secret and their heroes meant that they were able to get that turnaround. Sabas should still be in a pretty decent spot, although the damage starting to come through. He'll be fine.
So what can Tempest look to do to kind of stem the bleeding? Because Secret, with their past couple of movements, have put themselves back in this game where Tempest, you know, the double kill onto Crystallis and the movement to mid, you know, felt like they were going to be the ones in control of the early game, but Secret have been able to kind of hold that and put themselves in a really good position.
Yeah,
what are we expecting out of Tempest in the next couple of minutes?
You have to keep in mind that while all of that was happening, yeah, you lost a couple of heroes and the mid tower, which, you know, doesn't sound very good at all. Slardon was farming completely solo up on this top side, getting a lot of levels. They actually used the glyph previously as well, so they're not going to be able to stop this tower from going down. This is a really big kill. Look at the boys.
Two Dark Troll summoners. I mean, yeah, you nerfed them a little bit, but bring two to the party and that tower goes instantly.
Okay, well, that's not as good. What just happened? You know, if we're going to use some technical terms, not good is losing your tier 2 tower at the 12-minute mark of the game. I was thinking maybe it wouldn't have been all doom and gloom for Tempest if you get that early-ish Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker. He's only about 700 or so gold away. You also had the Weaver as well as the Sniper just farming completely freely on the bottom side of the map, pushing that lane out, but realistically, that's not where Secret want to be. They want to be playing on this top side. They want to be using Radiant Advantage and playing around the Roche Pit.
Yeah, that's the big thing, the Roche Pit, like you just mentioned, because now it's incredibly free for Secret. They might need one pick-off to lead into Roche. So you've got to really be cautious here. The discipline needs to come out from Tempest to not feed away even one position 5. Otherwise, that will be the opportunity for Secret just to look to move in.
And the thing is, someone has to address the top side. I mean, Slardon does. He gets rid of all the Skelly boys. So nice little infusion of gold coming through to him there. But it forces rotations. It gives you a lot of information.
Oh, but Damage Rune's going to be utilized here for Sabas to get the kill into Puppy. So they'll finally be able to deal with the Enchantress and reclaim their own jungle. But as soon as that occurs, Kataru has to leave his triangle and blocks up the Ancients on the way through. Nisha and Zayat's in hand. Tombstone's going to get laid down for the moment. They're trying their best to secure the kill, but they won't have the vision to be able to bring it down for the moment.
Yeah, playing a lot more around the vision, playing a lot more around, like, they know that Roshan is the biggest timing, and you've seen a distinct movement away from this bottom side of the map from Tempest. So I like the fact that they're not just...
Oh, the Weaver is going to get caught out. Zayat! Beautifully done with Nisha's follow-up. A kill onto Drakun, who's working towards the Atos, but that's going to continue to slow him down.
Yeah, they're not just locked in onto this previous way that they were playing. I'm sure someone in the team made the call of, guys, what are we doing on this bottom side of the map? There's nothing for us here. We don't have the greatest lineup at being able to take towers. If we try and shove out the lane with something like a Shrapnel, and Nyx Assassin can kill us, let's just play where Team Secret are wanting to play. We're relatively strong. We just need to try and stall out this game a little bit more. And you've got the Blink Dagger on Slardon. You've got a Spirit Vessel completed, you've got an Arcane Rune and a Witchblade to play with. Now that they shove out the lane, they're going to go for a smoke and try and get a pick off. Look at the lines on the map.
See the direction they want to go here from Tempest. Because all of Secret are in a position down bottom to take a fight. The one tower is the prize for them.
Rezo would be
Tempest.
a big pick off. Oh, but
See, they're going to run into Site Dom. Woo! Zayat! He's doing way too much. Oh no. Slardon's got Blink. Catch any stragglers. Secret, they're out there.
Top tower
Look at this. Then Crystallis is getting so much farm. Those two deaths slowed down his game, but he's working towards a BKB. Maxed out Plasma Field is going to help out a lot with his farming progression. And look at the wave he's going to get top. Already got one under the tower. Another wave coming through. There's going to be a lot of gold given over to the position 1 on Secret.
And we saw what happened last game, obviously. Didn't go super well, that laning stage for Crystallis, but as soon as you got to the mid-game, that's where he really started to shine. Monkey King, Razor, these are Crystallis heroes 101. So he's going to be able to repay back a lot of the faith that his team's putting into him. They're going to go for another smoke, and I understand it. The lanes are in a relatively decent position, so they can probably afford to, but you need to connect on this. And I think, honestly... Vision. Yeah, and Kotaro needs to show on the lane too.
They need to drop the Tombstone in a position where Secret aren't going to be able to address it. So on the high ground for the moment, inside the river they go. Slardon's in with the Echo Slam onto the the Storm Spirit, and the damage is enough. Sebastian's been able to blow up Nisha, but can they get out as the Impale clips the Void Spirit? They've got the damage coming through from the Vendetta, but they haven't addressed Katara on the Sniper. Freely right-clicking from afar is the position one on Tempest, and it means that they'll come out on top in the trade, and they might even get resolution as well. A pogo stick forward, Slardon's got the extra control, and Draken will just slip past the wall that blocks him out as Tempest. An incredible fight from them inside the river. We finally see the usage of Slardon's blink.
Has been killed.
This is why I trust him to play the Earthshaker, man. The laning stage wasn't so great, but they realized the conditions that they need to meet to be able to have a successful fight. You know Secret want to take Roshan, so set up vision, defend it heavily, play around the tombstone as much as possible, create the havoc to allow that Echo Slam to come through. And, you know, Katara, he got there a tiny bit late, but he was still able to influence that, grabbing himself a couple of kills in that fight.
Another freebie. And potentially a T1 tower as well with the catapult, although Nisha's going to look to get some revenge, and the rest is Secret. Instantly funneling to the mid lane.
Trying to fade out this tombstone.
They're poking him down from afar. They'll jump back in. They've got control of the area now with the tombstone laid down in Secret. They've got to get out. They will be able to do so, but it comes at a cost of another support. But as long as they can keep this tier 1 tower alive, that's the main thing from them. As Nisha's going to jump in. He's falling a little bit low in the mana department. Meanwhile, Chrysalis, though, well, his health, that's not looking too good for the Razor. Again, without the BKB, struggling to be able to enter the fights. So it's going to be on the other cores on Secret to turn this back around. It's Sabas, the simulate, and he'll make it into the river. So Tempest, beautifully done from them.
Yeah, they're just going to go the full-on retreat. No mana, no cooldowns, and no more objectives to be able to play around. Like, these past couple of minutes have been all Tempest. I'm really impressed with the way that they're playing around their timings, around their resources that they've got, and vision. They're actually using their vision components. Even something as simple as the Swarm. Previously, it felt like Draken was so hell-bent on just getting that to be able to do a lot of damage to our hero, but he's even just using it for scouting purposes. And I was mentioning the Gleipnir was really important. He's not even going the Maelstrom first item. He's going the Atos first. I think it's just as valid, honestly. The ones you need to lock down are the Lycan and the Razor. Obviously, Razor's going to have that BKB, but Lycan, he doesn't like buying it at least for another 5, maybe even 10 minutes.
And it feels like, again, the timing for Secret is just getting delayed further with the BKB on Chrysalis. Like, he was having a game where he had some me time for quite a while, but showing up to those past couple of fights with 2 more deaths in a row is really slowing down his big item to be able to look to enter. So it feels like now for Secret, is that really all we're waiting for? Just a BKB on Chrysalis?
I would say so. I mean, they might not even be waiting for that. They're just going to throw, again, Puppey onto the front lines, realizing that, hey, they actually played that previous fight pretty well. It means that they've got a lot of information to play around. Are they just going to walk straight on into the pit? Slardon, he's looking to use that Tumbler's Toy to get up onto the high ground.
Oh, they see him. Ooh.
Ooh, Korea. See you later. But they go the full wraparound.
Just a minor thing to mention is that Nisha will be playing with a regen rune for this fight. So he's able to reset. He will have full resources to enter. Can they do Roche, however? Tempest, they need some form of information to be able to scout out where Secret are.
Look at him. That sneaky little bug. Just playing right underneath his vision, looking to pop any kind of smoke. So Tempest, it's happened too many times so far this series. I'm counting 3, maybe even 4. So you got to go an alternate route. Don't go the obvious way, but go away. It might take you another couple of seconds, but if you can avoid this pesky Nyx assassin and find the backlines, find that jump onto Nisha in particular, then you're setting yourself up for a huge amount of success. But with the amount of indecision that they've been having, it means that you've got this BKB available on the Razor.
This fight has to go well for Secret. It doesn't feel like they have much margin of error now with how much farm the Sniper's getting. The team fights are not going to get any easier for them. You need to be able to come out on top. And with the blink as well, I think coming out from Zayats is going to make it that much easier for them to get the jump. If they win this fight and get Roche, then they are back in the driver's seat. But if you continue to stall out this game, Sniper is going to be a very big issue.
It does feel like... Oh, hold on. They're going for another smoke here. Is anyone going to be in a position to pop it? Catch you just out of range.
Ooh.
Draken might be the one that gets caught here.
Zayats gets a jump. Onto the Undying. They should be able to blow him up. They also see Slardon's position as well, but the Earthshaker's going to be okay for the moment. Slardon actually jumps into the middle. They don't have the control at the moment to hold them back. They'll kill off the Nyx Assassin, but this gives a free fight for Nisha. A long zip in to be able to deal with the Earthshaker. And now Tempest, they're in full retreat. To the right side, Draken trying to deal with Nisha at TPR, and he'll be okay. Now the Weave is in trouble. Time lapse still available, so the bug will escape.
Literally centimeters between popping that smoke. Just even the way that they were moving, right? They walked on the left-hand side of that cliff, just so if there was someone camping around to the right, the smoke wouldn't pop. It's those tiny little decisions that a team like Secret does that sets them apart from potentially a lot of these other teams in the last chance qualifiers.
And the fact that also Secret are unable to... Resolution? Is he in some trouble? Kataru nearby. Gotta be cautious though, because Zayat's gonna hold the back. The damage onto the sniper. Pop is just freely right-clicking the impetus. Oh no, they didn't respect Secret. They entered their domain, and now Crystallis is still on their damage. Slardon's gonna be in with the Echo Slam, clipping just onto the Storm Spirit. Nisha, zip out, and he'll be okay, but now you need to look to address the Razor, as Crystallis has gone untouched throughout the team fight, soaking up all of the damage, and now they'll turn to Draken as well. Slowed down from Poppy. The damage coming through thick and fast. And miss! Oh no! The time lapse. Draken gets it off at the last second. And the Fissure might buy him enough time as well. So the Weaver will just slip away onto the high ground. Look at Poppy. Nisha's nearby too. Draken Sakuchi on cooldown. They've got detection. They'll finally get him.
Doesn't even look at him.
Oh no.
Just turns his back, says, yeah, you're dead. Gets away, opens up the Roche pit. I mean, this is basically a carbon copy of what happened previously, right? Oh, they might be able to catch this Shaker too. Slardon didn't buy back previously. It's really important for him to hold on to as much gold as possible so that he can look to get into that Aghanim Shard for that consistent poke in a lot of these team fights. But yeah, Sniper just gone way too far forward there without the backup from the rest of his team. I was mentioning that both teams heavily lacking in lockdown, and if you're just going to go in onto enemy's side of the river without, honestly, your biggest team fight hero, that's a big mistake. Particularly
and
around
now
Roche.
Yep, because now you've given the opening here for Secret.
All right.
Someone would like the Aegis. Please don't leave it. In fact, probably the best Aegis carry in the game is able to find that on the Storm Spirit. There is a window now though, however, for Dire. Sebas just
it's so
picked
unfortunate, yeah. Like, he was so close to that for a while. Like, I was looking at him and he was 600 gold away from his Ags for, like, the past 3 minutes, basically. Katara's nearly got his BKB too, but imagine if they had got that and taken a good team fight and gotten Roche themselves. Such a winning position.
See what they can do now in Tempest. They need an area to be able to take a team fight.
Found him again.
Zayat is going to look to take that away. Onto the Undying. They go. Oh, there's my Carapace! Oh, it's perfect. Zayat with the chain control, but Sebas is okay for the moment. The damage, they'll turn it back around, dealing with the first life on the Storm Spirit and Tempest. They got to get out. Sebas is not in fighting shape with all the ultimate charges on cooldown. They'll turn to Slardon instead. The easy kill onto the Earthshaker. They're going to be cautious with their positioning because Katara's in trouble, but not messing around. A BKB will protect the Sniper inside the base. They go. They don't care about how deep they dive because they know that Tempest are not in fighting shape. A Secret just swarmed inside their own territory, and they'll find all 5.
Could they just go top? I guess they might just want to take mid, but yeah, feels like tops might be the call. Just testing any of these buybacks here, but yeah, with that glyph being used, they're like, well, what do they have to stop us? Undying's Decay level 1, 0 base damage. It's not going to be able to clear anything. I don't even know if it aggro's creeps, to be honest.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Again, just a couple of small mistakes. That's all Secret need to be able to completely take control of a game. That mid movement, it really feels like that's where Tempest have come undone in a couple of games now. 25 or so minutes. The vision was all right, but just the movement from all of the team cohesively was not.
Yeah, and especially with this lineup as well, if you make a couple of mistakes, then we see what Secret can do in regards to taking objectives. Like before I was mentioning that, you know, if Secret lose kind of the Roche fight, then all of a sudden you have difficulties dealing with the sniper, but we see how they're itemizing, and we see how they're even taking team fights as well. Like Rezo, Nisha, and also Crystallis just instantly looking to jump his own position, and if Void Spirit doesn't have ultimate charges, they're running at Sabas as well. Like I love this blink pickup from Crystallis. He's gone Ag Shard next as well. The read from them this game is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's got that BKB going and you get the link onto the sniper, what can he do? Like, there is no way for the sniper to be able to get away from the Razor. He dived him inside of his base, and he was still very comfortable.
Sabas? Both ultimate charges into the high ground. No one's going to look to move on over. With the tombstone dropped, it's going to be difficult for Secret to take the fight nearby. The resolution, he'll use the shapeshift. Nisha's even considering about entering towards the backline though. Draken's onto Crystallis. Trying to force out an early use of the BKB. Towards the triangle they go though as Nisha's onto Slardom. As it back in and out, just a poke and prod with the summons is enough to get the kill. Zayat, however, he's separated from the team. And they should find any easier pickings onto the next assassin. So in the end, Tempest will find a 2-for-1.
You wouldn't,
well,
Nisha.
he would. He would. He might go for Draken instead. They see the Weaver is isolated.
I love effective voice line usage.
He's gone for the TP. Oh no. Oh, division.
Hit it with a double. I was a little surprised with Slardon in that fight. Like, he is a great Earthshaker player, but he was pump faking on top of Nisha a couple of times there where he could have very easily gotten a bit of chain lockdown and at the very least forced out a little bit more mana so that Nisha wasn't able to make that re-engagement happen and get the additional kill. So, I mean, a big part of it is how Nisha's been playing. Like, when he zips in, he hasn't been greedy. He hasn't been going for the highest damage components. He's just been zipping back and forth.
Around the triangle, Slardon gets a really good two-man fissure that clips Nisha as well. They're putting a lot of their attention to try and bring down the Enchantress and it puts Sabas in a compromised position. Zayat, you can always trust this man. Look what he's done for them so far throughout the series. He's been incredible again on the next assassin.
They're just letting the creeps deal with the tombstone as well. Denying a lot of this vision. Are they going to get 2 observer wards? I think they are. That sentry just on the north side is going to clip it too, so Zayat's going to claim another, even just preemptively popping the Spike Carapace, realizing how important he is to the formation of Team Secret. If this man is not the MVP of this game, I don't know what I want to say. Like, supports rise up.
Supports rise up.
They're a rarity in the C server, bro. Arteezy said it. It has to be true.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh yeah, we're seeing if you can get that good support. It's a diamond. They're hard to find sometimes. When you come across them though,
when you come across the perfect Wyvern player, it's just like, oh, where have you been all my life?
Very hard to come by though. We don't see many perfect Wyvern players.
Yep. We're a rare breed, that's for sure. Well, nearly level 15 on Sabas, so that's going to give him a nice little bonus. The outer dissimilate ring, of course, it moved away from the Aghanim shard.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It really feels like it's just going to be maybe slow the pace down for the next couple minutes and Secret wait for this next Roshan. Still, high ground is something you need to respect on Tempest. Sniper's probably one of the best high ground defenders and the Earthshaker with the capability to jump in and counter-initiate. So Secret might just look to play it safe and wait for that next Rosh spawn.
You can wait for Roshan, but the thing is, Nisha, he's level 18. He just picked up his BKB and he's got a haste rune bottled. And with, again, the lack of stuns that they've got on Tempest, it's very clear who his main priority is. Like, he wants to take out Slardon every single time if he can. And especially if he's making the smoke rotation through with Zayats, that's just going to provide them the lockdown that they need to make sure that there's none of that turnaround actually happening. Tempest are doing the right thing. They don't know exactly where where Nisha is. He is the one that they're most afraid of in this game right now. But they're playing together so that if someone does get jumped, at least you've got the boys there to help.
Guitar, I was going to say, showed for a second mid. They're going to look to jump Crystallis though. Zayat's in once again with the Spike Carapace and they've been able to catch out the sniper. There's no hesitation from Nisha. Jumping Kataru. And meanwhile, Sabas has been caught out as well. Secret Once they sense an opportunity, they pounce. And Tempest have lost 3, and soon their objectives are going to fall as well.
Yeah, for sure. They had the right idea. I think they just committed way too heavily. As soon as you... Oh, gonna go for an even deeper dive here. Nisha, not even needing mana, he says. I just right click you down, and, well, it'll be enough. Bit of an early usage on the glyph as well. I suppose the tower's about to die, so... Yeah, it just feels like there's nothing that they can do against this.
It's Megas again, I think.
Yep.
They push so incredibly fast. Rezo's got the Ogasil totem as well. Look at him just chuckling, smiling on forward. Gives a couple of laughs as well. I love Dota. A secret. Oh, the Mega Creeps. This should be them closing out this second game.
Zayats might get caught out early. Again, it's a... That feels like a little bit of a victory lap, you know? They were going for something just to be able to put the stamp
Rezo?
on a one game.
Poke and prod. The force out. Tempest on the hunt. Gotta be cautious about how far they leave the base, though. The creeps are starting to enter, so you don't want to keep these tier 4s vulnerable.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I'm still of the mindset of Tempest were in a really good shot of winning this game, if not for just a couple of super costly mistakes around that Roche pit at 23 to 25 minutes. Like, that is what lost them this game. Nothing beyond that. I mean, you can see that's basically exactly where the win probability just shoots up for Secret, because a big part of their lineup on the Radiant side is playing around that Roshan. 3 to 25 minutes. Like, that is what lost them this game. Nothing beyond that. I mean, you can see that's basically exactly where the win probability just shoots up for Secret, because a big part of their lineup on the Radiant side is playing around that Roshan. They just gave it to him for free.
100% agreement. I think it was very similar to game 1 as well. Like the early game, the first 20 minutes was great. There was just a couple of mistakes, and you're at this caliber of Dota where you can't make those mistakes. Like, an enemy team like Secret will punish you, and that's just something they're going to need to clean up a little bit.
So, no one's defending mid lane. It's a little bit of a worry. Means any kind of movement like this is pretty damn obvious, as well as when you're underneath an observer ward. But you kind of have to as well, because Roshan's potentially respawned. They're going to use the shrapnel to scout out the fact that it's not. But, I mean, they've found something even better.
Yeah, they're onto the Void Spirit. Zayats has done it again. Started the fight with the fault from Nisha. The Void Spirit's gone. Cat used next on the agenda. He'll drop the Tombstone, but it doesn't matter. Secret, they're way too far ahead for Tempest to be able to deal with it. Even Katara just has to BKB TP out, hoping he can escape. And Secret put all their attention onto other heroes.
They're picking him out. Zayats
Katara.
wants the stun. Ooh!
Oh, no. That should be all she wrote. He doesn't have a buyback. The G's are dropped. And Secret, what a great way to be able to start out the last chance qualifiers. They were 2-0 Tempest. Early game, we saw some really good movements coming out from Tempest, but just Secret, the composure from them, and really important thing, being able to punish those mistakes, puts them in prime position to take this game.
That's the disappointing thing. The spark is there. You can see that Tempest have the tools to be able to really take some surprise games off people, but it's just a couple of mistakes that really shouldn't be happening at this level, unfortunately, being their undoing. And yeah, Secret, convincing way, a nice, maybe a breath of fresh air. It's probably not the way to put it, but just a sigh of relief. There we go. To be able to get a nice clean 2-0 to be able to start things off and cement themselves as one of the favorites for not only the upper bracket, but for the last chance qualifiers altogether.
Yeah, and you were mentioning as well with kind of the drafts, and in particular with Chrysalis' hero. Like, we just saw Comfort in both Game 1 and Game 2, giving him the Monkey King in Game 1. Game 2, he had some good showings on the Razor, like some good team fights, and there were some times where Tempest were able to catch him out. But it's nice that Secret are easing him into it, and some of the other members as well. I think this is really nice for Zayats to get off to such an incredible series on the Nyx Assassin. And this could also be potentially, I think Nyx is a very strong hero, but this could also just be the prep from Secret, knowing that Weaver is something they really prioritize, the Ember prioritize as well, which was a big reason why they first phased it in Game 1. So, potentially just the homework from Secret, or just that they feel like this hero is really strong. But at the end of the day, Zayats was a big reason of why they won both games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was saying before we saw any of the games start today that I would be banning out Zayats Tusk. It's been let through a couple of times. They haven't picked it. time to ban out Zayat's Nyx Assassin, I think, because the man is way too good. Or you need to go down the route that I was kind of hoping, in that you see a Nyx Assassin early on, you pivot to push. You do basically what Secret did to you, Enchantress style of heroes, like in Beastmaster. I think that's why you can't necessarily pick a position 3 first before you see Zayat's hero, because, again, that's what he's going to provide a lot of that early tempo. And if you just know that it's a Weaver, then you don't really care. You feel like, all right, we can get away with this Nyx Assassin and not lose all of our objectives.
Yeah, which is something that's going to be scary to play up against.